And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, after traveling across the country, the real Punk is back home. I didn't have to travel all the way across the country. I got to just go down south. But we are back with another edition of the Weighing In podcast off of the inaugural Showtime with Bellator show that was in the Mohegan Sun. We had a world title fight with the man you always talk about, Pitbull against Emanuel Sanchez, and Patricio Pitbull did exactly what you thought he would do. And we did talk about that arm in guillotine and how dangerous he is with it. He ends the fight with it. There's a lot of things to talk about with the UFC, a couple of big-time matchups, and the actual signing for sure, and the date of the trilogy match between Dustin Poirier and Mr. Notorious, Conor McGregor. All right, what's up, Joshua?
Crowd goes wild.
No.
Guys, we are going to make a shirt that says Crowd Goes Wild.
Crowd goes wild. Well, that's it. That's our next one. And are we going to go, and on the back, boo?
I love it. I love it. I didn't even think about the back on the boo thing.
Oh, yeah. Come on, man.
Crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes wild.
That'd be awesome. That's our shirt, Dave. Podcast Dave, you better come through with that. Anyways, we skipped over on Podcast Dave. Hi, it's been a while. We haven't seen you, buddy. How you been?
Did we? I'm sorry. I left Podcast Dave. Podcast Dave on the controls. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy that everyone wants to know. What is he really like? Not much, guys.
Boo! Boo! That's all I wanted to do was boo you. I love it. I just landed. John knows I take my car at 3:30 in the morning after we get done filming at midnight. Jump in the car, drive an hour to the airport.
That's after having beers with me.
After having beers with you, and I'm home by 10 a.m. on the West Coast. It's a long flight, and we get it done. But hey, here we are now in the studio Saturday afternoon. Drop my bags off, jump in the car, get to the studio, and bam, we're doing this.
And why? Because we are dedicated, Josh Thompson. That's why we are dedicated men
to our fans. And you know what? I want to say thank you to every single person that watches our channel and tagged me on Twitter and said, hey, I'm only here to watch these Bellator fights because Big John, Josh Thompson, Weighing In podcast, and still, champs, we are the GOATs, baby. We are the GOATs of MMA podcasts. And they said, I'm only here to watch this. These 4 shows that are coming up, we've asked and plead you guys, hey, just check them out, see what you guys think. You know, you guys make your assumptions on if they're good fights or not. That's all we ask, up until the May cards. I mean, even after the May card, May 7th? After that card, there's a couple more good fights that are coming up as well. But we're completed with you guys. You guys came through. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. A lot of good, positive feedback, and people are going to be willing to give next week's card a chance. That one kind of fell apart a little bit because of the COVID situations. But it's still a very good card. And then the week after is a stacked card. And then May 7th is probably one of the best cards.
And June will be on fire as July.
A lot of good things coming up. A lot of built aggression. I think it needs to get out for the cards coming up on Showtime. So I'm pumped. But let's jump right into this, John. Let's talk about. Do you want to talk champ first, or do you want to talk? Bottom up.
No. We talk about the most important fights, which are the championship fights, and that was not only a world title fight with Pitbull having to defend his title, but it was to get into the finals of the Featherweight Grand Prix. He has a chance of adding an additional $1 million onto his purse if he can get past the man that's been undefeated, AJ McKee. And you look at that fight. If you are Bellator and as a promotion, if you're Scott Coker as a president, you're just looking up and going, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, this worked out for you as good as it could work out. The guys that if you would have picked, these are the 2 guys that I would like to kind of see in the finals at the end. You know, and that's what promoters do. They look and they try to figure it out. And these are the guys that you would have wanted to see make it to the finals because it's what represents your promotion the best. And you've got Pitbull being, there's no doubt, man, he is, if not the best featherweight in the world, he is absolutely at the top of the heap. And he's just getting better. because there's multiple things that make it that way, but maturity is one. Mentally, he is incredibly strong and he's smart. His fight IQ is very high. He now has that ability. You look at how calm he is when he's fighting, and you look at what he does. He doesn't take the unnecessary risk anymore. He only does the things that are going to be effective for him and make him just start to take control of the fight. And him against AJ, you're looking at the stylistic, type of matchup where I'm telling you, look, AJ McKee is the John Jones of the future. This guy is special. Now, John Jones had those fights where you looked and you said, man, he's facing the veteran, the champion, even when he won the title against, Shogun. Shogun was just an incredible fighter throughout most of his career. Now, he had some losses and stuff, but he was incredible, and John Jones handled it. And we'll see what happens in this one. Can AJ McKee match that type of performance that got John Jones the title when he was a very young man? Or is Pitbull going to take the young man and say, not quite yet there, son? Because it was really cool when they were talking to each other, because I was hearing everything they were saying, and it was special.
To touch on Patricio maturity, his fight IQ, but he didn't always have that. That's the thing.
No.
As his career went on, as he's matured, and I've constantly said about how he worked with Henry Cejudo, but I just read the article on Henry Cejudo talking about how he had just lost to Demetrius Johnson. He had saw the style of the wide stance that Patricio was using and having success with him. He is trained with Eric Alberson, and so they had a good relationship, and he flew down to Brazil to train with him. And he's like, after a couple of weeks, he's like, I realized that this style would be perfect for me. And he came back and made his run. Henry Cejudo did. So a lot of what he got was from Patricio and them two working together. Now, don't get me wrong. Patricio learned a lot from him as well in the wrestling department. If you look at Patricio's wrestling back then compared to his wrestling now, it's completely different and all positive. Henry has helped him progress in the wrestling aspect of as well, which once you have that wrestling aspect of just being able to know that you can take people down when you need or stop their takedown when you need, it lets you know you can dictate where the fight goes. And so that confidence, I think, is what helped with his fight IQ and his maturity in the cage. Also, he has the equalizer, and the equalizer is the power in the hands. I mean, it just seems like he doesn't even have to really load up. He just lets it go, and it just touches on the chin, and they're down.
But that's when power works, is when you don't load up. You just throw it. Don't try to sit there and put that extra little bit of fucking sauce on it. Just let it go, and it's going to work if it touches the right spot.
Yeah, he's on point, though, John. And that left hook.
Accurate.
Slipped the right hand and threw the left hook, and it was right on the button, sat him to his hips. And then he jumped on him and kind of ground and pounded a little bit. And then when Emanuel tried to come up on the single or come up to the body lock, he jumped right into that arm and guillotine. Now, I don't think that would have happened. I think Emanuel would have kind of like snuck his little way out of there somehow, because that's how Emanuel is. It had this happen in the second or the third round after a sweat had got on, because it was the first round. They were dry, and up until that point, it wasn't a very active round. I thought they were going to come out bang, 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 bang right away. But no, Emanuel came out and respected him a little bit more, almost wanted him to bring the fight to Emanuel. He wanted Patricio to come to him, it looked like. And that wasn't going to last very long. Emanuel's one of those guys that you can tell he was getting bored in there, so he felt like he had to do something, and it cost him. But they were dry, and I think that's a big reason why that he got stuck in that submission. It was even to the point where when Patricio jumped to it, Emanuel's right arm was stuck. So I don't know if you saw that. His right arm was stuck between the legs.
Yes.
Stuck there. He couldn't tap, and his arm was out there. It looked like he tried to tap right when it got put on, but he couldn't, and he just was out. He was out. I think he was out quick.
Oh, he was out fast.
He was out fast. And people think that it takes time. No, it can take 2 seconds, 3 seconds. If it's slapped on tight, and then with Patricio's strength and the hip pressure and dragging you down, if you try to resist, it could be seconds. He could have been out by the time he actually hit the ground. That's how tight it was. That's his go-to submission. And when you're dry like that, it was perfect timing, great execution. And I love the fact that Patricio was even looking at the ref like, hey, I'm feeling him. He's not there. Some guys, they just don't care. They'll just keep holding. I mean, I was good to see. I was happy to see that. Other than that, I feel for Emanuel Sanchez. I know he had.
Man, do I.
He had high hopes, man. He said everything you would expect someone like him and to be in that position to say. He looked phenomenal at the weigh-ins. He looked lean. He looked ready. He seemed mentally prepared. Like he
Boy,
knew.
he did.
Seems like he was the guy. I said the same thing about Pedro Cavallo when he was getting ready to fight Patricio. He's a guy when you sit down and talk to him. I walked up going,
Makes you believe.
you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. And then as soon as I walked away, I'm like, maybe he's gonna win. Like when you talk to him, you're like, maybe he's gonna win. And so I thought he had a really good chance had he carried on, like I said, like round if it was a round 6 of the
It should have been round 6, and it wasn't. That was the problem, in my opinion. And I'm not going to sit here and debate what Rufus Sport and Duke and Scott Cushman and they all came up with for a game plan, because that's their fighter and they know what they're doing. But I really thought the way for Sanchez to have a chance at beating Pitbull was to push that pace, to make him fight at a pace that he wasn't comfortable. And it's not so much that you're trying to do this, big thing, but you just keep on edging him more and more towards that cliff by getting his heart rate up. I would have had it to where, we talked about it. I would have had a signal to when there was 20 seconds left in the round, I would have had a man, jump on the gas pedal and make him have to, no matter where you're at. If you're underneath him, great. If you're on top of him, you are going to step on the gas pedal and make him have to defend, make him have to do something to hold you back, make him have to hold you down, make him have to defend the stand-up, whatever it was. I want his heart rate getting higher and higher in those last 20 seconds, because I want him to go to the stool and not be able to come down quite as much. Because that was the one thing, if you were looking, in my opinion, and it's not that Pitbull doesn't have good cardio, he does, but the advantage that Emanuel Sanchez had going in this fight was his cardio. His cardio is incredible. This guy he can run at an RPM. He's kind of like, he's like the Ferrari engine that can go into those high RPMs compared to the small block Chevy that can only reach that 7,000, 8,000. Everyone's different. Everyone's got that RPM level that once they reach it, if they go over it, they start to fall off that cliff. And, things get pretty bad fast. And that's what I thought, he could use that conditioning as a weapon. But with the game plan and what we saw when he came out, that wasn't even part of it. He was holding back, like you said, almost making, Pitbull come to him, trying to just be a tactician, but not one that's pushing the pace. And in my opinion, one of the things that makes Sanchez who he is his ability to push the pace.
Yeah, I was surprised when he came out and kind of just let the fight develop in front of him. I thought he was going to come out and make it round 6 of their last fight. Yeah. And that was things that I had talked about. I said, like Emanuel Sanchez has never lost a fight, just ran out of time. And that was my take on it. And
this is the first time he's ever been finished.
Yeah, that's the first time ever in his career he's been
ever
knockout or submission. So it's probably weighing on him heavily. I really feel for him because I know that he really wanted this, but a lot of everyone wants it.
Sure.
But he's the guy that I honestly thought that he was going to be. He had a good chance of dethroning the king.
Yeah.
Pound for pound king. I mean, and people are going to give me a hard time, but I'm going to continue to say it. Patricio's the best 45 pounder right now in the world. And I'm going to say it, keep saying it. Don't get me wrong. I think Volkanovski's great. I think he's phenomenal. And I think
he is
great. I think AJ McKee is great. And I think Brian Ortega are great. Those 5 guys are the top of the heap. There's no doubt about it. You could put somebody else in there as well. I don't know, but it doesn't bother me. But those are the guys. If you were to put them on, if you were to say like, hey, who are your 5 guys on your roster that you want to fight 5 of anybody else? It'd be those 5 guys. Be like, hey, I'd match those 5 45 pounders against anybody else in the world and they ain't beating them. You know what I mean? Like those guys are that damn good. And they're all interchangeable like chess pieces.
Yep.
Like one guy matches up well with this guy, but the other guy, not so much. And so, but until someone like I've said last night on the broadcast, until somebody dethrones the king, Patricio's the king right now at the 145 pound division.
Well, and the other thing that Patricio's got going for him, in my opinion, look, he fights for money, no doubt about it, but he fights for his legacy, and he is able to, with each fight, he has his goal. He has his target that he's aiming towards. It's either a performance issue or a way that he's going to stop the fight. But, I always say that it's easier to be the challenger because you've got that target. You can look at, that's the guy I want. I want his belt. You've got your target. When you're the champion, you got to come up with things, because if you don't, you kind of start to flounder out there because everyone's aiming at you and you have nothing to aim at. He's never had that problem.
Yeah.
Never. So it's he's impressive. Just an impressive.
To go to the jaw jacking though, at the end there between the two of them, AJ McKee and I thought it was great because look, both of them handle themselves very professionally. No pushing, no shoving, just right in each other's face. Words to be said. Look, they're going to settle in the cage, and I can't wait for that date to be announced because both of them they're both healthy, and I think they're looking to do a quick turnaround. They're saying as early as maybe as June. So, I mean, can you imagine that? Just in a couple, you're gonna give Patricio maybe 2-3 weeks off to enjoy some time with his family.
Yeah.
And then get him back in there June or July would be absolutely amazing.
I would think.
I loved how they jaw jacked a little bit, kept it professional. But like I will continue to say this, and Patricio's said this, like, you want to be the king, you have to beat the king. And so come and get it. And that type of mentality is what I love about him, because he comes from that era, John, of it's a little bit past mine, but we did it in that era of he's still kind of like the tail end of what my era was. Is we did it because we loved it. It wasn't because of money. Like, it fucking made.
There was no money for a long time.
I like to remind people, like when I fought in the UFC, the first stint, in 2001 to 2003, I was fighting Yves Edwards, which should have been for the UFC lightweight title. I made $8,000. That's how fucking no money. There was
big bucks.
Yeah, big bucks.
Making the big bucks, baby.
No money at all. There was no money involved.
Well, I want everyone to think about this, because they're saying, well, $8,000. Okay, so everyone knows that $8,000. Now you have a manager that's taking a portion of it, up to 20%. Okay, I'm not saying that's what yours was, but it's up to 20% with a lot of fighters.
10% to my manager.
10% to the manager. Usually 10% to the trainer. Yeah. So there's 20% gone there. Now we got to pay taxes. So what's happening to this money?
Yeah,
it's just there's nothing there, man. You look and you go, Jesus Christ, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's a shitty situation to be in. But you got to remember, when I fought Hermes Franco, I fought him for 4-4. Like, that was the number. That was to fight for the number one position, to see who was going to fight for the title next. It was supposed to be, you know what I mean? So in that time, like, Patricio comes from that era of, sure, the money is great now, but he hasn't lost sight of the fact of what he loves to do. He loves to compete. He loves to be the king at the top. He loves to be that guy. He does everything that you would want your champion to be. He talks smack when he needs to. He does it very well. But he does it also in not so much a tacky way. He does it a very professional way, but in terms of, he lets people know who he is. And I love it about him. He's one of the most underrated champions, I think, in all of the sport.
He does it in a professional way, but he lets you know, I'm going to hurt you. I love that about it, because I will tell you, I was there listening to him, and Patricio basically looked at McKee, and he looked at him, he goes, and you're next. Right. And McKee goes, he says, oh yeah, I am next. And I'm the guy that's going to take that belt from you. Right. And then he goes, you think you can take this belt? He goes, no, I know one can take that belt. He goes, let's go right now. Let's see you try to take this belt right now. It was just great. I'm like, oh yeah, go ahead.
It's great. Now let's talk about that matchup. Let's talk about that. AJ McKee and Patricio, they're in the finals of the World Grand Prix, Bellator World Grand Prix finals. What do you think?
Just touching on it, obviously, in my opinion, Pitbull's the favorite. You got to make him the favorite. Here's a guy who's been there and done that too many times, where AJ is a guy who, this is his first. Just telling you now, he's been in 5-round fights, but he's never gone 5 rounds. So there's an unknown there too. And no matter what, there's an unknown in the back of his head. He's a confident guy, and he has matured so much as a fighter in the last 2 years that it's so impressive to see. He knows who he is. He knows what he can do. He knows that he has length in this fight. He knows that, you got to figure AJ's got somewhere, I would say, a 74, 75-inch reach. Patricio's is probably 70. 60. Yeah, no, he doesn't even reach the 70s. He'd be lucky if he was 68, 69. He just doesn't have a long, but it's his footwork gets him in, and he delivers with power. So everyone's got an advantage. The length and the reach absolutely are going to favor AJ. If AJ can stick and move and keep him on the outside, it will force Pitbull to take chances coming in, which opens things up. So there's definitely
5.5 reach. Patricio. Oh, is that AJ?
Well, AJ 73,
Okay.
Patricio's 65.5.
Yeah. So
you're talking, that's a huge reach advantage.
yeah,
Huge reach advantage.
this is like
So,
you touched on it, the footwork. Patricio is going to get him in and get him out, and AJ likes to lunge in on things because he uses his speed and his athleticism to get himself out.
AJ likes to lunge in and lean when he's throwing and be on an exit as he's landing. He's not going to be able to do that so well against this guy.
Yeah.
Not going to be the same thing. He's going to be running into someone that understands, oh, you like to step there, and he's going to step in a certain spot that's going to block that. And it's going to crush the space on AJ. It's going to make AJ actually be the guy crushing his own space based upon what he's doing. So he's going to have that backup plan. When he does this, this is how I'm going to change it, because it's going to happen somewhere along the way with it.
I think AJ is going to try to wrestle him and try to bully him around. AJ is enormous. I was talking to him. Yeah, he's 177 right now. Or sorry, yeah, he's 177 pounds right now.
Right now? Yes. I didn't think he was getting that heavy.
I didn't think he was that heavy either. He said, no, this morning I'm 177 before he ran. I'm like, that's a big boy. Like, people don't realize how big he is. He's probably 5'11". I think he's about 5'11".
Yeah, and he's got to be weighing 165 when he steps in the cage to fight.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He's like, I usually get up to around 64, 65, somewhere in there. So, which is common, I think. Yeah, he's 5'10". He's 5'10", fights at 145, 25 years old. He'll have the explosive, he'll have the energy, Energizer Bunny, and he's the Energizer Bunny. The thing with him is he leaves himself out of position because he relies on his athleticism. Does he have the ability to stick and move and stay on the outside? Yeah, but you're playing with fire, because you get touched on the chin, it can be over, like we saw with everybody else that's fought Patricio. Yeah. I think if he's smart, he presses, he pushes, gets to the clinch, wears on Patricio in the first 2 rounds, make him carry that body frame and that size, and take him down if you can. Just keep your head out of that arm and guillotine, and I think you'll have some success. Slow Patricio down, because he'll always, I think, even when McKee gets tired, he'll still have the speed factor.
Yep.
And reach. You're not going to take that away. So Patricio, though he's very precise with his punching, as we saw last night, is really going to come down to the fight IQ of AJ McKee. And if being young at 25 years old, if he can get it done against the GOAT.
I come back to fight IQ and mentality. I'm not saying that he's never fought someone that couldn't be broken, but he's definitely going to be fighting someone that can't be broken. And a lot of times when you're in there, you as the fighter, you'll see those moments. You go, oh, he's starting to wilt. I got him, and he's not going to ever find that in this guy. And he's got to realize that going in, it's like, it's not even something I'm going to look for. I'm just going to keep touching him and doing things to make him work. The way to beat Pitbull, in my opinion, is don't try to go knock him out. That's going to be the hard thing. I'm not saying he can't be knocked out. He's been hurt. I was in there with him when he got hurt by Weichel, and Weichel went after him, and then went after him again when the round started and hurt him, and then went after him to end it and got knocked unconscious with a left hook. So, this is a guy he's got power in his hands that he can, at 145 pounds, he has got bombs. And he can put you out with one shot. He'll put you on your butt with one shot for sure. Sometimes put you out. And, we've seen it time and time again. He put Sanchez on his butt. He put Chandler on his butt. He's put a ton of guys on their keister based upon the power he's got in his hands. So when you're looking at Pitbull, here's the easiest equation you can look at. He could be losing every second of the fight and win 1 second of it and be the guy that wins the fight.
Yep.
Got that power. That's Francis Ngannou type of power for his weight class, and he relies on it.
You're right.
What's that?
He's got Francis Ngannou type power. You usually see that in heavyweights, not in a 45 pound.
Yeah, well, for his weight class, obviously he doesn't hit as hard as Francis. I'm not saying that, but for his weight class, he matches up like that.
Crazy to think. Yeah, it's really going to come down to the fight IQ of AJ McKee. I look at
the game plan.
Yeah, I look at how much AJ has matured as a fighter. He showed a lot of that when he dealt with that adversity against Derek Campos when he hurt his knee in the first round. And then he had to continue to fight, and he ended up getting the submission, I want to say in the third, right? The end of the third? Third? Yeah.
Yeah, third round.
In the third. But I mean, it was one of those fights that you could tell he looked like he was starting to gas. He looked like he would, because he exerted so much energy. He left himself out of position a bunch of times in that fight, like he was trying too hard.
Yep.
Almost like that excitement of to
He
be.
was, but he's trying to make things happen.
Yeah, when he doesn't need to.
You don't need to.
But I think when you saw the Darren Caldwell fight, he didn't need to make anything happen.
And he didn't.
Have to. He let the fight develop, and he was able to capitalize. He relied on his skills and his ability to get the job done. He made short work of Darren Caldwell, who's a former champion at 135 and phenomenal wrestler. So with Patricio's not a big guy. People like realistically, guys, like if he wanted to, he could cut to 35 no problem. He would you have to just diet down a little bit, and he can make the weight just fine. So I think it's one of those. Like he's not a big guy. AJ McKee's gonna go up to 55 after this if he wins, from what I understand. He wants the 45-pound title first, is what he's saying, but because he wants to be a champ too, which is I love young kids with big aspirations like that. That's phenomenal. I mean, he's got his hands full at 45 right now with Patricio, but he's got his hands really full at 55 with the other Pitbull brother too. So those guys up there at the top, and you've got other guys. There's Alexander Shabley just got signed. He's fighting Brent Primus. That's a fight that's gonna happen. That's fucking gonna be a great fight.
Yep.
Shabley's phenomenal, man. Great fighter as well. I've trained with him, worked with him and stuff. He's really good on the feet. You've got other guys that are in there. Gyochi Yamuchi, he's in there as well. You've got other top guys there in the 55-pound division there as well. So I'm excited to see some of those guys fight. Peter Quilley's fighting Patricky, I think, coming up, which is nice. Anyways, let's go. What's the next fight there? Jason Jackson, Neiman Gracie.
Weird.
Very weird fight.
Just weird.
Super strange.
Man,
this is more your department, because I came to you. That was the first question I asked you, because we were in different spots this time. Tomorrow. Yeah, we were in different spots this time.
He listens to the podcast. He'll hear that one, Moro.
I was at the desk this time with Jen Brown. I have a blast up there. I love it. Love being up there because there's way less work for me to do. so much fun. First question I asked you when I came down, I was like, so with the Jason Jackson, the ice scrape on the cage, like, shouldn't the fight have just been stopped? Because it's like almost like calling timeout. But you said because
of the fact that it's an eye injury, and you have a fighter who is now pawing his eye and closing his eye and can't see. What's the most important thing is the safety of the fighter. Well, it was a self-induced injury. It wasn't that he tried to do it. It was his body position got to a point where his face rubbed the cage in a way that his eye got actually pulled open. The eyelid got pulled open. And so instead of being able to close it as he's being raked across that chain link, his eye was open. So now his eyeball is bouncing off a couple of those, links of chain. And that's what caused him the problem. Now he's sitting there, and you could see he physically stopped. I did not know what actually occurred to him when it first happened, but I saw that he physically stopped. And when you saw, Neiman all of a sudden is coming up and reversing him, and Moro's calling, it was the reversal. But I'm going, no, Jackson stopped. There's something wrong. He's got an injury. I don't know what it is. And then you saw him, and he's trying to talk and tell the referee that it's, oh, my eye. Well, Neiman didn't do anything wrong. Neiman didn't foul him. It was a self-induced injury. And when you have an injury that is the fighter themselves caused the injury, then it's the same as like a fair blow. But a referee, in consideration of the fighter's health and safety, has someone that he believes can't see. I don't want someone fighting that can't see. I can stop the match, which Kevin McDonald did. I can now take that fighter to the doctor who can determine, can this person continue on with the injury that he induced upon himself, this eye injury? And when the doctor says, yeah, he can go on, now he goes and he puts him back in the same position. And this is one of the equations. Is it ever going to be the exact same thing? No, and I always go, hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And I'd be the first one. If I was Jason Jackson and I'm laying on my back and letting, Gracie come on top of me for mount, I'm going to try to get myself to a position where I think I can start to get myself out or reverse it instead of I'm just going to lay there flat like a dummy. Yeah, I'm going to try to kind of get as much of an advantage as I can. That's my job. And so they put him back in mount and they restarted the fight, and he ends up getting, out of the position. But it was just a weird round because, then you kind of forgot everything that kind of happened because, you're just talking and considering about the one. And we talked about it. I was like, man, I'm being honest. I gave the round to Gracie just based upon it. I remember seeing him on top of him a bunch. I know that, Jason had his moments in the beginning, but I can't really remember what they were. And I know he had his moments right at the end, but I gave it to Gracie. But I went back and looked at it, and I can understand why the judges went and said, nope, Jason Jackson actually damaged him, hit him with big shots in that round, had the slams. I could definitely go and say, I was wrong in the way I called it. I think the judges got that right. Jason Jackson won the first round. I think Naaman won the second round, and I think Jason Jackson ended up winning the third. And he got the fight 29-28. So the right guy got the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much had to remind you how scoring went because I could see Jason Jackson going, yeah, no. That's great though. No, I actually I said that it all came down to the first round. I even wanted to say something.
It really did, and it was just a weird round.
Yeah, it was a weird round. For me, I feel like, look, if something like that happens, you scrape your eye, and nothing against Jason Jackson, and you start touching it, and the ref starts asking, it's almost, I would consider it almost like having a verbal tap, like when you tap or you scream out. That's kind of a very similar situation, John, because now the ref sees you doing that and you're pulling at it, and I get it when you wipe it, that's it. But then he was, and he's on my eye. That's like a verbal tap. So I kind of think the fight should have ended. Nothing against Jason Jackson at all. And I understand. Look, I go back and I look at guys like when Randy Couture fought Vitor Belfort. He was doing that, but there was blood trickling, and you could
not for a while there wasn't.
You could see a visible.
Well, and I will tell you, and let's go back to that fight because I did the fight, and I'm trying to remember how many seconds it was. Dave might be able to look it up and see what the second Vitor versus Randy fight, how many seconds it went, but the actual punch that caused the injury was really, it was the glove, and the manufacturing of the glove is what caused the injury. The punch kind of missed, but the glove caught the edge there was because instead of rolling the piece over on the edge, they used to pinch it and sew it. So as I was looking at Randy Couture in this situation, I'm looking at a guy, and it really looked to me that his eyelid, you know how when you're a kid, you kind of flip your eyelids inside out and they look all kind of funky? That's what it looked like. It looked exactly like that to me. And I'm thinking to myself, because he's like, he's blinking it and he's trying to get it back. And I'm thinking to myself, just reach up there and flip your eyelid back.
Yeah.
Because that's what it really looked like. And then probably, I'm going to say 15 to 20 seconds later, I see a little drop of blood start to come out the corner of his eye. And that's when I was like, oh, that's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And that's why, so I stopped it and I brought it to the ringside physician, and the ringside physician in this situation stopped the fight saying his eyelid is slit right along the lash line. And we're going to have a hard time sewing that.
Yeah.
I can't have him fight. If it gets any worse, he could lose his eye.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, there was a fair blow. Vitor didn't do anything that was a foul. It was actually the equipment that was bad that caused it. And we ended up changing the gloves after that fight. But, it was a TKO victory. Well, this same thing would have been for Naaman Gracie. If they had stopped the fight, if the doctor said, no, he can't go on, or if Kevin McDonald had said, I don't like what you're doing, I'm just going to call the fight. It's a TKO victory for Naaman Gracie based upon there was no foul.
But what my point was, though, is even in that situation, Randy he was blinking a lot, but he didn't make any verbal noise. Like, oh, my
nope.
eye,
nope,
right?
Nope.
So that to me is he wants to continue fighting. When
He's trying.
Jason says, "Oh, my eye," that's like a verbal tap. That's letting the ref know, "Hey, I need attention. Hey, I need attention. Like I need you to look at my eye so I can keep fighting." That to me is not. I look and
I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Submission gets close, and I'm like, it's like but it's not.
No, that's not. I've had too many of those. No, it's over. I was just handed a fight, and I'm not gonna say what it's from, but I have to do a review on it, and I watched it, and I got a guy that's getting armbar, and he screams out, "Tap, tap, tap," right? The guy who is applying the armbar, he lets go of it, being a good sportsman. The referee doesn't hear it, and all of a sudden, the guy who tapped just kind of realizes, grabs a hold of him, and puts him in the other guy's like, what? And all of a sudden, he's tapping this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, how do you get in that situation? So it can happen,
there's got to be, I think there's got to be a rule change a little bit on this. Is that for the verbal of, oh, my eye, that to me is a verbal tap. Like you're trying to bring attention to the ref for you to look at something. Like there was that was the other thing. There was no blood. So I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about it. I love Jason Jackson. I think he's one of my favorite guys in Bellator, all of Bellator. He's a phenomenal person. So fun, energetic.
Just a great guy.
I love doing the fighter interviews with him. So, but in that situation, because when you restart, it's not the same fight anymore. You've had a minute and a half, 2 minutes now to rest. Now you put me in mount. Now you have a lot more explosiveness to try and get out. It's like all those things play a factor. And
sure.
So you basically just changes the how the fight was really going at that very moment. And so I think after that, it kind of changed the tide. After that, Jason Jackson had 2 big slam takedowns that started skewing the judges a little bit, I think, too. They were very dynamic, big off the ground, big slams. And then he got on top, did some nice work on the ground and pound. I thought that's what won him probably the first round after the eye injury. The second, I thought even the second was close because Naaman, even though he got the takedown and was on top, he didn't do anything.
Yeah. There was a lot of control, but not what we're looking for is damage. Or the attempt to finish the fight. Are you going after a submission? It's not working, fine, but you're going after it. You're doing things to finish the fight instead of doing things to keep my opponent in this position and let time go by so I don't get hurt. That's not what we're looking for. That's not going to get you anything. And so you're right. He didn't do a lot of things to finish, at least work towards the finish. And so I think that had a lot to do with the way the judges looked at things.
Yeah, because I went back in the first round, I thought Naaman, I was like, but I think Jason probably stole it with the 2 big slams and did some work on the ground. Because even though when Naaman had him flattened out and had his back, he wasn't punching because Jason Jackson was holding the wrist. And so he couldn't.
The only thing he did was go for that choke, and it was never close to being
close. So that's, I was like, it was kind of a weird, like you said, it was a very weird fight to score because of all the things that happened. But I would like to see that in a rematch, just to be honest.
Yeah. If I'm Jason, I'm not sure I want that. Well, it's like, what does it do for you if you do the rematch? But he'll fight anybody. He wants Douglas Lima. I think we're looking at the guy, and I think Amosov deserves that over Jason Jackson right now.
It would be foolish not to give it to Yaroslav Amosov.
Oh yeah, he deserves it.
Dominant performances in almost all of his fights.
But
he's beat another undefeated fighter in Logan Storley. He beat him, and that was one of the best wrestling technique type fights I've seen. And Amosov, not coming from a wrestling background, able to stuff a lot of takedowns, make Logan Storley work. He's a phenomenal athlete. That fight should be happening soon, hopefully sometime in June or July. So
yeah. So
Jason will be on the side just waiting unless he wants to get one in at the same time.
I think he's going to get one in. This is a guy that likes to fight, so he'll get one in.
Him and MVP.
That's what I said.
Wouldn't mind that.
I think him and MVP is a perfect fight. Both of them long, both of them fast. They both like to do kind of the same things. They do it differently completely, but it would be a good fight.
Or Lorenz Larkin. I wouldn't mind a Lorenz Larkin fight.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, let's talk good fights, man.
I always thought Lorenz Larkin against MVP would be a great fight. You talk about fast, Lorenz Larkin's fast.
Yes. Tyrell Fortune, Jack May. Still a fight, real quick. Jack May, last minute replacement, but they've fought before. Jack May had gotten knee in the groin from their
able to continue.
they wasn't able to continue and so on. But it wasn't going Jack Mace the first time. He wasn't going his way the first time. So this fight, Tyrell Fortune did exactly what we were protesting to him to potentially do. It's like, hey, why don't you utilize your wrestling as a heavyweight? Because you're
don't do that.
He's like, oh no, I think I'm gonna knock him out. I'm like, oh god. But then he went out there right to the wrestling.
Yep.
On top.
Single leg, swung him down. From that point, it was all over.
You lift the heavyweight's leg up, they have no balance.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of guys aren't good.
The only guy that I've ever seen with decent balance at a heavyweight is Kane.
I was gonna say Kane had great balance, so did DC.
Yeah.
Great balance.
DC's Kung Fu Panda. I actually have a meme of Kung Fu Panda with DC's face on it. I mean, overall, Tyrell Fortune did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to. Jack May stepped in last minute, but he'll probably get back to another fight right away. They were jaw dropping.
I liked this call out though, man. And I liked what I did to just push his buttons.
I like that he's trying to fight someone that is ranked very high.
Yes.
I like that he wants that fight.
Yeah.
And then stylistically, they're almost the same body style.
That's a good matchup.
And it should be a good match. I give Tyrell the speed advantage on the feet and probably I think he's got the better boxing. I don't know if you don't think so?
I don't think he's got the speed advantage.
No, you don't think Tyrell Fortune has a speed advantage?
No, I think Moldavski's faster than him.
Really? Well, you've been in the cage with both of them, right?
Yep.
Yes. I've only been cage side, and I haven't really compared in terms of like Tyrell Fortune being fast on the feet, and
he is fast.
Yeah, he is.
But Moldavski's really fast.
Interesting.
Moldavski's got speed.
Can Tyrell take him down?
Yes, I do believe he can. I actually think that Tyrell's got the better wrestling. The question is, does he use it? Does he use it in a smart fashion, or does he just say, "I'm going to stand up with this guy"?
No, he needs. I told you heard me at the fight. I mean, like one thing heavyweights don't have is wrestling. If you wrestle, man, you could be champ. Like if you use your wrestling, set up your punching, you can take it both ways. Like I think that's what got Bader being the champion. That's what got Kane being the champion. That's what got DC being the champion.
Sure.
Heavyweight guys just can't out wrestle. Not majority of them can't. And the fact that there's not a lot of good wrestlers in the heavyweight division right now across the board, I think he needs to utilize his wrestling. I don't know. We'll see what he decides to do.
Yeah, that'd be a great matchup. I would love to see that one.
Usman Nurmagomedov versus Mike Hamill.
God damn. Okay, I'm just gonna say, Mike Hamill. I want you to know. I know you're 0-2 in your Bellator career. I love you, brother, man. You are a gamer. You go after it. You have zero quit in you. You took some body shots that I was feeling.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that hurt, man. I know that hurt. And you just kept coming forward the whole time. But man, did Usman Nurmagomedov put on a clinic this is what you do as far as bringing the kicks down low, kicks up high, body shot, head shot, all these different angles, all these different techniques and attacks. He brought out a goddamn buffet of striking, techniques and where to attack at certain times and the switch of his feet into a different stance and then coming back. He was beautiful.
Yeah.
He looked so good. And then his wrestling defense was outstanding because there was a couple times Hamill got deep on him and he was never able to get that takedown and hold it.
Well, he did take him down twice. He took Usman down, I think, 2.
No, he did not take him down. When you have a guy that hits the ground and is up, he hasn't been taken down. It's been a positional change for a moment. Takedown is when you control the position. Yeah, exactly. No, there's no points. And that's the difference. A lot of times people will look at that like, well, in wrestling, that could have been 2 points. In wrestling, there's no points. You gotta take him down and do something with him.
2 points, John.
2 points. I want to give 2 points.
Those of you guys that are watching our show for the first time, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, I'm like the clickbait guy. Okay, I'm the guy that says I like to get John going. 2 points. Everyone at home going, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm like, no. I'm just here to rile you guys up, man. I thought he looked phenomenal. I think 22 years old. He did a lot of great things. He did a very good job at controlling the distance. He also tried to control the pace. I think the kicks were a big factor in that, in the kicks to the body, kicks to the legs. He had a nasty push kick, I want to say in the third round, that made Mike Hamill like buckle over and put his back to the fence. But he after he took a couple deep breaths, he came back after.
Came right back.
Mike Hamill is awesome. He's
junkyard dog tough, man.
Normally fights at 45. He came up to 55. He's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back down. He may go back down now, realizing that the guys like Usman are there. But I'd like to see him stay at 55 for a little bit longer. Give him another 1 or 2 more fights, somewhere in there. He's got good wrestling. He's explosive. He's got, he throws a lot of punches and bunches. He just had a hard time getting in on Usman. And I had said that for the pre-fight we were talking about. I said the length and the reach and the size of Usman will be the factor. He's long. He utilizes his kicks really well. He utilizes his jab really well. That push kick, all those things were a big factor on keeping Mike Hamill at bay. And when he didn't keep him at bay, he was able to get the takedown. Two. Okay, he was able to get the takedown. He wasn't able to hold him down, but he was able.
Will you quit saying these things, because people are going to look for a takedown and go, "Where is it? I don't see it," because it never happened.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back through and highlight it all and send it to you.
Oh, dude,
old man, see, 80 years old.
We need to do a highlight reel of those takedowns.
Oh man.
Oh, there is no highlight because they didn't happen.
When I had talked to some of the guys with Bellator, they were very impressed with the fact that he was so composed and fought a very good fight. And the other thing is, well, there was moments where he could have got him out of there, but he also didn't rush into things. And that's kind of what they're looking for, like, in the confidence. And when I talked to Javier Mendez, he's like, look, the only thing he's lacking from what Khabib has is the mental. And the mental comes with time.
Sure.
That comes with time. He's 22. Khabib at this age wasn't like that. He's probably about the same as he was. I'm like, just the mentality is like, hey, you've got to believe in yourself, and you believe in yourself every time you get a win. And then we've talked about this. Confidence is key, and confidence comes from what you're doing is having success. So whatever it is you're doing technique-wise, it's creating success. That gives you more confidence. Okay, I keep doing what I'm doing. And you start adding more tools and more tools. And that's all he's going to do. He's going to get better and better. And I'm looking forward to see how his career goes.
That confidence also comes from being in situations like he had with Mike Hamill last night, because this is one of the things that's so hard for a young fighter to do is you take a look at Usman. Usman had finished every opponent he had been in against except for one. So when you start to have that run and you hit people and they fold or they fall down, you start to get into, hey man, when I hit someone, they go down and they don't get up, and I can finish fights. And then you're going to run into that person like a Mike Hamill. You hit him with everything and they just keep coming. And that is a mental game that you have got to get through and understand, hey, I'm going to hit this guy with everything I have, and he's going to keep coming, and I'm just going to keep hitting him again. And you just put it in your head. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep hitting him again, because a lot of guys will actually mentally start to break in the fight, even though physically they're winning it, because they're so used to having success and getting somebody out of there. And now this guy won't go away. And although they're winning physically, they're starting to lose this thing mentally, because inside they start to get concerned. Like, I can't stop him. He keeps coming. And this is all part of maturing as a fighter. You get to those fights like this for Usman, where you go, this was a good fight for you. This is a fight you need. You need to have those ones where you showed, yep, I see that you just keep coming, and I'm just going to keep hitting you. And that's what he was doing. So it's a good fight for him.
Good stuff. What was the next fight on there? Conor Watanabe versus Alejandro Lara. Twitter blew up on this fight.
Here's the one thing I just look at. With you gotta love the attitude of Alejandro Lara. She's having fun. Yeah. She likes what she's doing. She's in a place right now at this moment. This is where I want to be. And that's what you want to see out of your fighters. You want to see that. I want to be here. I'm excited about what I'm doing. And, she does the dance, coming down. That's fantastic, because she has the dance background. She has all kinds of different, crazy things. When you look and, people think about fighters, she's got the, psychology background and all those things, and then dance, and then got into martial arts. And she's fun to watch. she made some fundamental mistakes in her stand-up that ended up costing her the fight, I think. She trying to, hurt Watanabe and hit her with shots that were heavy. She kind of crushed her own space. She's the reason many times that Watanabe was able to get her hands on Lara, which ended up being bad for Alejandra because she hit the ground too many times, was put on her back too many times. And it was what we had talked about. The place that Alejandra Lara cannot be with Watanabe is on her back. She's going to be in trouble there because Watanabe is super strong. She's super heavy on top. She does, enough damage to keep it there, and she's just going to wear you out. And that's basically what ended up happening in the second and third round.
Well, Watanabe being as strong as John, like you were saying that she was, but overall, I think Alejandra Lara was stronger than her. There was a couple of times she just bridged her over like nobody's business. So when I said I felt that Alejandra Lara was the bigger fighter, she filled out very well after making weight, and you could see that she looked big walking, doing her dance that she did. I was like, she didn't look like the same person that I saw the day before at weigh-ins. She was more filled out, and when she was able to bridge her over a couple times, there was one time when Watanabe threw her and she just stepped over her body,
step over it for the mount.
like that's very impressive against an Olympian, a judo Olympian. And just when she had 1-2 where she got taken down, her back was flat and she was able just to reverse her right to the top position. Just physically strong she is, Alejandra Lara is. And I'm not saying Watanabe isn't, because she obviously is, but when we were doing the comparison, one has technique to hold people down. She just wasn't, Watanabe's just not as strong as Alejandra Lara. Lara uses a lot of strength instead of technique. So in the third round, you saw she couldn't do that anymore because
got tired.
Strength was gone.
The power was gone.
Explosiveness and everything, all that stuff had just dissipated. And so when we were having these conversations about that fight, Alejandra Lara had to keep her distance, stick and move the jab. It was that stupid kick that kept getting her in too close. She would throw the punch and then she would throw the kick, but she would throw the kick to the body. One time she got taken down because it got caught. A couple other times it just got caught in when Watanabe stepped in to close the distance on the kick. If you're up on 1 foot, you only got to sweep one leg.
Especially, she did that outside reap on that leg, though. It was beautiful.
Did it all the time. She did it like 2 or 3 times, and a couple times she's missed it, but she had success with it. I want to say 2 or 3 times. And so that just comes down to just fight IQ, cornering as well. Cornering. Stop throwing the kick. No, stop throwing the kick. The corner's got to be yelling to you, hey, we see something on the outside. That kick is getting you in trouble. Stop throwing it. Stick the jab. Move. And at the end of the midway through the second round, she stopped moving. Yeah. She stayed right in front of her. That's not where you want to be. You want to punch, move, punch, move. Because in the first round, when she was moving, she likes to move around a lot. She was having success and landing some clean, hard shots on Watanabe.
She was. Yeah.
And that to me like had her winning that first round. But,
she did.
Yeah, after that though, and she kind of came on well in the second, but then she got tired, because she almost dropped Watanabe, I think, in the second, or she kind of got her wobbled a little bit in one of the exchanges. I don't know if she was off balance. Like I said, it's not hard for me to watch the fights from the damn desk. Anyways. Oh man,
I'm sorry, dude. I was like, you're cracking me up.
Way up there, man.
Goddamn.
Yes.
Watching for the desk tomorrow.
I love
Moro.
I love
love me some Moro.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I thought it was a great fight. They brought the heat. They did a great job. Watanabe fought a smart fight. Fight IQ came through in the third. She controlled the top position, shoulder pressure, made Alejandra Lara try to expend a lot of energy with one movement versus using technique to get out. She's got to focus on more of using the technique in those type of positions. And she wasn't able to. She was trying to explode out of a lot of things. So she must have a lot of success in the gym doing the moves that she does in the explosiveness area, like where she bridged her over a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that against top people when you get to later rounds. It just doesn't happen. You got to use technique and focus on the technique. And so she's going to have to go back to the drawing board. But I enjoy watching her fight. From the dance out to the time she leaves the cage, I enjoy it. And Twitter loved it apparently as well. There was a lot of girls.
Twitter loved it as well.
Twitter got blown up last night when she was fighting. Girls loved it as well. There was a ton of girls on there. So I'm talking about it. They loved the fact that she fought her ass off. And I think that both girls gave a great performance. We'll get into some of the into some of the performances in the
A couple.
Yeah, a couple. But let's just Magomedov did not disappoint. He's on track to. We talked about when the rankings came out. He should be ranked number probably like 2 or 3 somewhere in there.
Yep.
It shouldn't be long before he gets to the top. I know that he wants a higher ranked opponent. I'm glad he actually called you back to say that that's what he wanted, because I
tried to get him to say something with it.
I thought he was gonna let that moment pass him by. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing, man? Like,
no.
So I want to remind people, this is the guy that up until this last fight with Aljo, Peter Jean only loss was to him. So if you guys were watching on Friday night last night, then you guys will understand this was Peter Jan's only loss up until the DQ loss to Aljo. So he still only has 1 loss, as you guys can see. So when you guys are watching this guy fight, just understand that's how damn good this guy is. So he's phenomenal, great wrestler. He's got some decent stand-up, but he
got good stand-up because he's got good spinning attacks, man. His spinning back kick is nice.
Doesn't throw it a lot. That's the thing. Until he finds someone that can stop his takedown, he doesn't need to throw it a lot. So that's the point, right? If I don't need to throw a lot of stand-up because I can just take you down at will, then what does it matter? Yeah. So great stuff. Phenomenal fight by him. And then we get into who was that? Mandel
Nalo.
The rat garbage, I think is what they called him last night.
Rat garbage. I used to have a friend, you rat bastard. Well, this is rat garbage.
Funny.
He's a great guy, man. He's, he pitched a shutout. He did not miss a shot. Everything he threw hit the target.
He's accurate. He's very precise with his stuff. He's accurate. He's funny.
Funny.
We talked to him. People, if you guys don't know the story on him, he's somebody that doesn't really need to work. His wife is like a really
high-end doctor.
Yeah, what?
High-end doctor
in Canada. And so he's just like, yeah, she just tells me, just keep training, do what you
train. You don't have to work. You bring the money in off the fights when you do. That doesn't matter.
That's so great.
I want a wife like that.
I'm marrying up. What a savage. Anyways, good stuff, man. I mean, like he's really good. And I know he's had some misfortunes, like his loss to Achilles Mota. He hurt his leg. I think he tore his knee, I think is what happened, right?
Yep.
So he tore his knee in that fight, but he was doing well. I mean, he was having some problems with the leg kicks a little bit, but he was doing well in that fight as well until he hurt his knee. The Sadawad fight was a no contest. What was it?
Yeah.
Knee, right?
Groin shot.
Groin shot. It was very accidental. It happened early too in the fight. What was it like? Less than a minute?
It was the first round, about 2 minutes in.
Yeah, 2 minutes in. But yeah, he's someone to keep an eye on, you guys. I know that he doesn't really. I can't say he really looks the part. But
he looks like he's a jazz musician, doesn't he? Yeah. He could be there just hitting a guitar, playing jazz, man, just looking cool.
What was the movie that who's the actor? Robin Williams. He played Patch Adams. He reminds me of Patch Adams.
Patch Adams was the doctor. That's his wife.
Yeah, I know. But with the little, because he likes to do the little.
He'll do the mustache up and stuff.
Mustache twitch. Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Patch Adams.
See, he's a lot faster than Patch Adams, man.
The real Patch Adams. If you look up the real Patch Adams, he actually has that little handlebar. There you go.
Oh, really?
There he is.
Okay. Yep.
Does that not look like him, John? One's a white guy and one. What is Mandel?
Doesn't matter. But do you take a look at that picture right there with Mandel? He always got the different facial. It cuts off the bottom, with the chin and stuff. So
they look exactly alike, Dave.
They do not look exactly alike. If that's your idea of exactly alike, we got a problem. But they both are guys that are their own type of special people. They don't care. I want to look the way I want to look.
I love it.
It's all good. He can fight though, man.
I want to talk about Christopher Gonzalez. He looked good. I can't say whether he looked good or Roger Worth looked like shit. He looked good. I'm sorry, man. Roger's just not the same guy.
He hasn't been.
He has.
I love Roger, but you just got to be honest about it. He's, his Roger's career in Bellator. That was his
5th or 6th loss.
Sixth loss, I believe.
6th loss in a row.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna have him back. Like he's just not. I mean, and you could tell after the first round, he sat down on the stool. He wasn't even making eye contact with his coach.
Dude, I looked at Morrow and I said, look at his eyes, look what he's looking at, and look where his attention's at. He's telling you, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, it's
And
almost
it's happening again. I don't want to be here.
damn, man. You know, and it's so sad.
It is.
Honestly, it's sad because there was so much hype behind him. He's a good-looking guy. Like he's a super exciting fighter to watch. He was, and now it's almost like he just it looks like I'm watching him. He just realizes that he doesn't have the athletic ability anymore to get himself out of these positions. And then it's to the point where he realizes he doesn't have that. And so now he doesn't have the mental ability to get out of there as well. He's just beaten down, and it's a shitty situation because I know he's a phenomenal athlete. I don't think he doesn't have it anymore.
Well, he was a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
At 37 years of age, he started to slow down. He's not as fast as he used to be. And the game has changed. Where Roger was really good before, there's other guys that are just better. And he doesn't have that big knockout power. He's got to put volume on you. And, you take a look at his opponent in Chris Gonzalez. Chris Gonzalez is, we're talking about a national team member on, the 2016 Greco national team. He wanted to go back because the Olympic trials are basically going right now, and he wanted to go and compete in it. And he made the decision. Yeah, I made the decision to be MMA. I'm going to stay with that. And he had the fight with Roger instead. But, he was seriously considering going and trying out again for the Olympic team. And his wrestling is good, and he's an athlete. And you just saw faster, stronger, and in the end, just a more talented fighter. Doesn't have the same fight experience, but he's learning things that Roger has let go past him. Roger, I don't believe, is learning anymore. And it's always been the one thing. And, I've personally said this to Roger, so I don't feel that bad saying it because he knows how I feel. Roger does not fight smart.
No.
For a guy that has all the experience that he has, and I've talked to him about it, I said, when something like this, and I've pointed him out, this is what occurs, and then you get out of the situation, and then you go right back to it. What are you thinking? What is going through your head? That tells me that you're not being smart. This is what you need to do. And he says, I know. Well, if you know, you got to start to at least show that you're trying to go in that direction. And he just can't. He's going to do what he's going to do. He's more of I go out there and I don't really think about it. I go with what, is just happening at the moment. And there's not a real, you can have a game plan for him, but once he steps in there, you're going to get what Roger gives you as far as I'm just going to go for it and open up and try to get this guy out. He set his feet against, Patricky Pitbull. He hits hard.
Yeah.
He's got power. He may not have the same pound for pound power that his brother has, but he's got dogs in his hands, as you would say.
Yes.
And when you're Roger and you don't have that same power, why would you set your feet and start getting into a gunslinging battle with a guy that has more power? That just doesn't show that you're using your fight IQ. That shows that you're being tough. And being tough is great, but it doesn't get you that far in this sport. Being smart gets you far. And that's what I've seen out of Roger. And, I love Roger as a person. I think he's a great person. He's had a lot of issues, growing up. He had a lot of hard times, man. He's been through a lot, and he has come out on the upper side of it because he's a great person. But fighting wise, I think it's time for him to start talking about doing something else in fighting if he wants to be part of it.
Yeah, I think that fighters will sometimes, how they say, I'll reverse this back a little bit. You know how they say when you see like a guy who's in his like 30s, late 30s or 40s or whatever, and they still dress like they're in the affliction era, is because they remember that was like their prime of success, and they continue to dress that way. They continue to do their hair that way. They continue to do all those things because that's like in their mind. That was when they recognized that they were the most popular.
They were successful.
They were most successful, whatever it is. Roger was the most successful when he fought Clay Guida. That was like the height of his career, and that's what got him on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was the first MMA fighter to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. All of that happened because of the style of which he fought. He
Mhm.
tries to rekindle that, but you can't when you're older because now you're fighting younger, more talented, more skilled, and the sport has evolved so much since then that guys like Gonzalez can out wrestle you, can take you down, control the position, dominate you from those positions because of their actual talent and ability that they've put in for the last 20 years that they've been doing since they were kids, and so Roger is still trying to, I feel like, fight in that era of which he was successful, and it's not there anymore. That era is past. Like if we were to look back at, you look at the Ken Shamrock era, the tough guy talk and the attitude, it's not there anymore. It's true.
No, it's absolutely true.
And even if you were to go to the Frank Shamrock era as well, it's not there anymore. You've got to have more than just cardio. Frank, well, that's how he broke people, was the cardio and the conditioning. With Tito Ortiz, just like, I'm going to make him puke, I'm going to make him throw, I'm going to make him quit. Like, that era is over. Every fucking athlete is in tip-top shape if you're going to be a fighter. Majority of them are, I should say. Not all of them, but you know what I mean?
Well,
The learning curve is over in a lot of areas. Now it comes down to technique. So the Alejandro Lara, I go back to that as well. It's the learning curve. You can't just explode out of things in 1 or 2 moves. You've got to use the technique, and as the fight goes on, you're gonna have to continue to use that technique to get out of these positions. And Rob gotten there yet.
Yeah, and exactly what you're saying. The explosion is great. It's great to have power, and I'll be the first one to say that. Look, I relied on it when I was younger and rolling and stuff like that because it worked for me. But when you get tired, it's not going to be there. Where technique, as you're talking about, is there no matter when you're fresh or when you're tired. The technique, if you do it right, it's still there and you can utilize it.
I would have never have guessed that you would have used explosiveness with those big ass arms and legs back in the day. Jesus.
Once or twice.
I would have went to armbar you and you would have just like curled me back.
Picked you up and just brought you in and said, "Why are you trying to do that?"
It's so funny. We were in Vegas or whatever when I first met Bobby Lashley. And we were fucking around and I was like showing him some technique and we started fucking around and I kid you not, I slapped an armbar on him real quick. He fucking picked me up and slammed my head on the fucking ceiling of the hotel room. He's like, bam! I was like, I finally had to let it go. It was so great. Oh man, he's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
Outside of that, I mean, that was really who I wanted to talk about. Mandel Nalo, Christopher Gonzalez. I mean, good stuff.
Yep.
I mean, outside of that, I thought the night of fights were good. A couple first round finishes, I think, leading up into the earlier prelims. But you have fights like that sometimes.
Roman Feraldo. This is a guy that people need to watch. He's going to be good. This guy he's got good hands. He's got a good ground game, but man, his stand up, he's slick. He is going to be good. He's 5-0 now. Not, the guy he beat, I'm not saying that was much. Trevor's a tough guy, good on the ground, not real good in the stand up, raises his chin a lot, but I'm telling you, Roman Feraldo, he's going to be around for a while.
I don't know why Trevor Goody raises his chin. He's like, what, 6'6"?
6'7".
6'7". I'm like, why do you got to raise your chin, dude? Like, no one's getting...
I know. It's high enough.
Yeah, like
that thing should be sewn to your chest.
I'd have to jump up and swing up just to hit you in the chin.
I know.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I mean, overall, the fight of nights. Give me a recap, John. Overall, good night of fights, you think? I mean, you think the people and the fans that we had talked to, our podcasting people, our fans for our channel, do you think they were impressed with this card, or do you think like maybe they're hesitant for next week?
They have to be honest about everything, and you look and you say prelims were actually really good. There was a couple of performances in there. I thought that Jose Augusto Azevedo, he really actually looked good. He's out of the Pitbull brothers camp. This is a guy that hasn't lost since he's been with the Pitbull brothers, and he's getting better all the time. I thought Chris Gonzalez looked fantastic. Mandel Nalo, you cannot pitch a more perfect game in a fight than what he did in that fight. He didn't get touched, and everything he threw landed and hurt. So, Magomedov, I'm telling you, that's the guy that everyone's going to have to look out for in the 135s. I saw him when he was in Russia. I refereed him against Peter Yan when Peter Yan won, but he is good everywhere. He's not just a wrestler. He's got great stand-up. He's got a lot of submissions. He's going to be the future in the bantamweights. And then I thought that, if you look at the main card, the Watanabe versus Lara fight was fun. I thought the Nurmagomedov fight against Hamill was fire. I thought it was just an incredible performance by both guys for different reasons. You know, Tyrell Fortune did exactly what he should have done. He wrestled and got rid of a guy real fast that he should have. The Jason Jackson and Newman Gracie, I'm sorry. It was weird. It just was a weird fight. It was almost like we need to redo. And then the champ, Patricio, did exactly what he continues to do and proved why, you know, what you say and I say all the time. He's one of the best featherweights, if not the best featherweight in the world. He's freaking good.
Yeah, if I'm going to go through this card, Dave, can you scroll down a little bit? I'm going to start basically Chris Gonzalez. I want to see him get a big step up in competition. I want to see him get there. He needs to be a little bit more focused on his stand-up. His exchanges, he will sometimes shoot raw dog, which will lead to some losses if he doesn't start working on his stand-up and his setups. He needs to focus on that a little bit more because he's shooting jabs from way far away to get in on the double leg or get in on the body lock. And that's going to cost him against guys that are really good. Because the level of, like we've talked about, the evolution of the sport, stopping the first and the second takedown, almost everyone knows how to do it now. So you need to start getting better because when you get to those upper echelon of guys, he's going to have a hard time getting that first takedown. So he's going to have to go to the second and the third, that chain wrestling that we talk about with some of the Russians. He's going to have to start focusing on that if he's going to start getting takedowns against these top guys. So he needs to work on his setups, on his stand-up to his takedowns.
What an athlete he is, though.
He is.
Oh, God.
Great kid. We ran into him a couple times after his fights and super knowledgeable, like in terms of like super respectful too. I was giving him, just telling him like, yeah, I saw this, saw that. I know I need to work on that. And just willing to take in advice and understand like, hey, we're just trying to help, you know, like whatever it is. Maldonado, the only knock I have on him is just being more active. I want to see him fight more. You know, there's reason for him not to fight, you know, in the top group of guys. I'd like to see him fight a Patricky. I'd like to see him fight a
Chris Gonzalez.
Chris might be not ready for him yet.
Okay.
I would say Chris is one step behind Maldonado.
Okay.
He's just very well rounded, probably a little bit too much well rounded for right now. I would give Chris maybe one or two more fights before I give him someone like him. Maybe a Yamauchi. How about Maldonado and Yamauchi?
Oh, I was gonna say.
No, not for Chris Gonzalez.
Okay. No, I can see Nalo against Yamauchi. That's a good one.
You know, somewhere in there, or you go Maldonado versus Adam Piccolotti.
That would be a good one.
Good fight as well. So in that mix, Magomedov. I mean, we're really just talking like kind of. We'll see what happens with the James Gallagher and Patchy Mix fight. I'd like to see him fight the winner of that fight. And then get right to the title shot after that. That's the kind of way I want to see it.
Wow, you did hear what you just said, right? Well, I'd like to see him the winner of Patchy Mix and Gallagher because then I want Magomed to fight them and then he'll fight for the championship because you're already predicting he's going to win.
I said I don't want to slow roll him to the title. Like in terms of I want him to be fighting those top guys.
So you think within one more fight he should be fighting for the title?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, there's no reason. Who else is in that division at that weight class? You've got Patchy. You've got Pettis. You've got what's it called?
That one's happening May 7th, so we know that one, right?
Yeah. So Juan Archuleta and Pettis are fighting. You've got
Patchy Mix,
Gallagher fighting. I'd like to see him fight. How about Horiguchi? If we can get that fight to happen, that'd be a great idea. You've got.
I don't know. I think if I was going to put right now, and I wanted to see Magomed fight someone in that weight class, I think I would actually want him to fight Leandro Higo. I think that would be a good matchup.
Do you think is Higo better than Matos? That's the thing. He just beat Matos. Why?
Well, I do think Higo is more explosive in the stand-up than Matos. You know, and I would say, you could put Rafion Stotts in there against Magomed. That would be a great fight because Rafion on the ground is outstanding. His wrestling is outstanding. So it's going to stop a lot of what Magomed did. So then it's going to become really more of a stand-up. But I think Magomed's stand-up is a lot more dynamic than Rafion. So it's just a weird I like the Leandro Higo because Higo's got power and he likes to throw his hands. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so he's got the ground, but he's going to try to knock someone's block off. and we'll see how Magomed deals with that. I've watched him once with a guy that tried to knock his block off, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
I guess that might be a good fight. Okay, Josh Hill. Isn't Josh Hill fighting Stotts?
I believe so.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good fight. Josh Hill's one of those guys, just very technical,
quiet,
keeps himself, in position.
technically good, but so quiet. Doesn't say a thing. He's the gentleman.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything that's like super flashy, but he just dominates fights.
Yeah.
Good fighter, man. Really good fighter. So
Yes, he
yeah,
is.
there's a lot of good fights to be had here coming up by the end of May into June. So I'm excited for Bellator. They're doing good stuff. The recap of it all when I go to Magomed. So Watanabe, I mean, realistically, I don't know what else would be next for her. She beat Lara. You kind of got to put her in that. Does she fight Alima Lay next?
She could fight Alima Lay next, or she can
Fight because Liz Carmouche is probably gonna, and whoever Liz Carmouche is fighting next is going to end up getting the title shot probably after that. So
I would think
the winner of that fight, whoever Liz fights, I think is going to end up getting the title shot.
Yeah. I would think exactly what you're saying though. Alima Lay and Watanabe.
Yeah,
That would be the fight.
it kind of falls right into what Alima Lay's game is.
Yeah.
Doing the submissions, so that would make sense there. Usman, if we're going to match him up against somebody, give me somebody you're going to match him up against.
In the 155ers, man, I'll tell you what, I would like to see Usman against Miles Jury.
Ooh.
See, I'm always thinking.
Right. That's a really good fight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the encore right there, as you would say.
Yeah, that's a really good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try to step on that. I think that's
Okay. I like that.
Leave it at that. Yeah, that's a great fight. And then Tyrell Fortune, we go right up into. He's already called out Moldavsky. I'm not going to touch that. That's exactly
Perfect.
big matchup. Jackson now is just going to wait for the title shot if he's smart. He'll wait for the unless he wants to get a fight on the same card just in case one of those guys gets COVID. You could step right in. That'd be smart for him as well if they could do that.
Yeah. Well, I still think you take Jackson and MVP, put them together. Now, or you could put Lorenz Larkin and MVP together. That's fine too.
What's with Lorenz? I heard that he's potentially fighting at 85 now.
Well, he might. He used to. Let's be honest. When I first watched Lorenz fight, he was a heavyweight. Then he was a light heavyweight.
Yep.
Then he went down to middleweight. Then he went down to welterweight. This is a guy that fought everywhere.
He fought. I remember when he fought King Mo in Strikeforce at light heavyweight, and he came out of the cage and he was like, "These guys are too big."
Oh yeah. Well, he got crushed in that, man.
Yeah, Mo just put the beating on him.
If you remember that was a fight that actually kept Mo from being put on the UFC's roster. Yep.
Why?
Go back and watch that fight because King Mo crushes Lorenz, puts him on the ground and is hitting him, and he wants the referee to stop it. The referee at the time was Kim Winslow, and she didn't stop it, and she let Lorenz get crushed. And when she did, then when she finally stopped it, Mo got up and basically chastised her.
Yeah.
Saying, what the hell, you should have stopped that fight, because he didn't want to hurt Lorenz, more than he had to get the win. And then the athletic commission kind of got involved and called him in, and he basically berated him. And that was it. The UFC said, "Yeah, you're not going to be part of our roster."
Probably smart though on King Mo's part.
Oh, dude, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, here's King Mo. Take a look at the shots that Lorenz is. Look at where the hands are at, man. He's out.
She's not reffing anymore, is she?
No.
She got so much flack for a lot of fights.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason.
Just refrain. Let's just refrain. Let's go to the next.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you pulling me out of the dark side there.
Yes. All right. So let's get into some news there, Pod. Oh wait, let's actually first mybookie.ag. Use the promo code weighing in, and hopefully you guys get a little extra spending cash, which they are willing to give you. So go ahead and throw that first initial deposit.
If you do it fast, you actually bet on the Final Four.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's today.
And you can bet on at least some of the opening games of baseball still, I guess. But you got baseball coming in too, so there's all kinds of things. What are you putting your thumb down for?
Watch his fucking ball. Get out of here.
What are you talking about, man? I go to the AA games. Those are cool.
I'll watch those ones because those are fun.
They are fun.
Baseball ones, it's fucking like watching paint dry. 180. They They need to split the season in half. Like, just cut it in half. No one wants to sit through all that shit for fucking half the year. Get out of here with that nonsense. It's the most boring. I understand the nostalgia of going to a game. I get it. But oh gosh, man, 180. Get out of here.
162 games.
Yeah, like just get out of here. Split the season in half, make it 2 seasons. You have 2 World Series. I'll buy that all day long. I'll do that. Short seasons have.
You can have two. You are the 2021 first half World Series champion. You are the 2021 second half. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Break it up, being a new year every year. I mean, the damn season's so damn long. It seems like fucking.
Oh, it is long.
It's ridiculous. Spring training season won't end until. God, get out of here. It's. I don't even tune in until like it's probably Game 7 of the World Series. It's like season's almost over. Yes, that's it.
So you're watching just because it's the last game, so you can watch it go away.
Yeah, exactly. That means that like football season's starting to get good right around that time. What's it called? Go Zags. That's right. Final Fours today. Go Zags. They got their hands full today with UCLA.
Yeah.
Number 11 seed, baby. Got to give them love. I like their coach, man. He's very he has that energy that I like to see with the young kids. Fun, man. He's fun. So I'm a Zags fan because I went to high school up in Coeur d'Alene, and Zags are right down the street in Spokane. And so I want them to finally get their first championship. You know, they got to the finals 2 years ago. Was it last year? God,
it's gotten to the Final Four before.
Yeah, they've gotten to the Final Four twice, I think, believe. Yeah. And they've gotten to the finals. I want to say it was last. It wasn't last year because of the year of the whatever it was called, 2020. The year before,
COVID year.
Yeah, the year before they got to the finals and they lost. So it's been so long. Didn't have the championship didn't have the tournament last year. Yeah, so I hope they finally get it. You know,
go to my bookie, get your thing, get your account going, and then go bet everywhere.
Yep. They give you some extra money. All right, so give us some news here.
Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier are official for UFC 264 on July 10th. Yep, July 10th, and it says likely in Las Vegas, and so Conor and Dustin have both released statements.
Likely in Las Vegas. You know what's going to be the deciding factor there? Yeah. Can they put people's butts in the seats in the T-Mobile Arena?
Yeah. You think they're going to make it work?
You know, I think they're going to end up with, that fight's definitely going to happen. The question is, you got to figure they're trying to go back to the International Fight Week. That's a big moneymaker for them and things like that. So is it going to happen as far as the fight's going to happen? Is it going to happen in Vegas? That really comes down to a governor by the name of Sisolak, I would say, because it's all dependent upon what he decides and opening things up, and if they can put all the people they want in that arena, or if he's going to say no, you got to do a 25% or something. They're going to end up going to Texas, or they're going to go to Florida or something like that. They're going to go to a place where they can sell the stadium out.
I'm just laughing at all the other sports, right? Complaining, but then they go to the States where they're allowed to have fans. Money does everything. Funny how money solves everything.
Money solves everything.
Yeah, I want to say that it's I think they're going to get it done. I think what's going to happen is, like I just said, money seems to find its way into politicians' pockets, and then they'll find a way.
Ooh, look at you making big statements.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way to get it done in Vegas. I think because, like you said, International Fight Week. Will it be like the old International Fight Week though? Will it be where they have other sponsors and everyone else? Because they just signed that deal with Venom. All the fighters get another $5,000 bump and pay, basically. $5,000. So they get a little, bump and pay, which is nice. At least there's some money going to the fighters. But they get the bump and pay. But are they going to bring back, like, they used to have, like, Affliction was there, Cage Hero was there. What was some of the other ones? I'm sure like a lot of the new wrestling sponsors will be there as well. Nearfall is there. What's the other one that I was thinking of? I was thinking a bunch of them. Anyways, but they're all going to be Tap Out and stuff like that used to be there. But these companies, will they start coming back? Will they come back and set up booths, do autograph signings? Fighters made money.
Yes, they did.
Right when they bought Strikeforce, I did that very first one because it was right after the Nate Diaz fight. And when I fought Nate, it was right after that. We went to the
International Fight Week.
fight week. I made a lot of money.
I made a lot of money.
I made a lot of money that week. I want to say honestly, that weekend I went there. It started on Thursday. I went Thursday, Friday, Saturday, signed all day basically. I want to say I made almost $100 grand. You know, it was busy. I was tired, but it was busy. It didn't keep me from going out at night though.
Yeah, hold it. It was busy and you were tired, and you put 100 G's in your bank account. You weren't that tired.
No, I wasn't.
No. It was a good weekend.
I was motivated.
Yeah, exactly.
Good money. Yeah,
you know how much I actually during International Fight Week then I was there was 3 shows for the UFC, and so I think I only did 2 of them. They tried to hold you out in one of them, and so I made $3,000 for the weekend. Thank you very much. Your 100 G's. Screw you, Josh.
Let me be your manager.
Okay, you can do that.
No. Oh man, jeez, that's ridiculous. Man. You hustled so much, man.
That's why I was running all over the globe.
Jeez, man. I'm surprised that you didn't. I'm surprised you didn't do more autograph signing sessions. Were you allowed to?
Yeah, but I always got every time I would do one, you would have one of the commissions would get, why are you doing that and stuff? And it's like, Jesus Christ. Because they looked and said, well, if you're doing it for the International Fight Week, you're doing it for the UFC. It's like,
that sucks, man.
Yeah,
that sucks.
One good
you always got someone saying something, man, when you're an official.
One good thing is that John built his own house out of wood, so like you don't have to ever worry about buying a house.
That's it, man.
Oh man,
I can make my own home. I am handy.
This fight, Conor McGregor being signed, Dustin Poirier, it's gonna happen International Fight Week. I've said it. I think it's gonna happen again. I think Dustin's gonna get to the calf. Depends on how bad the calf was damaged, and he's just gotta stay out of the range for the first 2 rounds. And I think the calf is gonna be harder and harder to block as the fight goes on.
Dude, did you not read what he said?
What?
Did you not read it? What is wrong with you, man? You'll know everything that's going to happen in that fight just based upon the tweet.
Oh, you're going to see.
Go down. Go other way. That's up.
That's up, buddy.
There you go. The fight is booked July 10th. You're going to see what the MAC is about. Adjust and absolutely fucking destroy, baby.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. See, now you know.
I'm a believer now. I should be a believer now.
Okay.
I haven't talked.
I'm glad I could change your mind.
I haven't talked to him. No, like when I walked up to Emanuel Sanchez, he got me believing as I walked. So until I talked to Conor, I don't believe it.
Okay, but when you talk to him, you will.
Reading it doesn't do anything for me.
Doesn't do the same thing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I had people actually coming up to me about that tweet and going, "Oh, Conor said this." Oh, yeah, I could say a lot of things too. It doesn't mean it's going to change anything.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It was funny when I was listening to Gareth Davies' response, like, "Oh, I talked to Javier Mendez, and he said he is the most talented, fighter." I was thinking to myself, I said, "That's the trainer. He's supposed to fucking say that." And he's
yes.
Every fucking other fighter he's ever had.
He has said that along. I've heard him say that about guys like, and I love Mike Swick as a fighter. Mike Swick's one of the fastest fighters I've ever had in my gym.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fun. It's fun.
Reporters, they come up with a lot of things. They're awesome.
All right. Look,
but I do like Dustin Poirier. I like the fact, and we talked about this, and you kind of thought that maybe he should go and fight for the title. And I thought, no, go with the money, because if you go with the money and you get that win because you believe in yourself, that's going to set you up for the title in the next shot. So why not?
Yeah.
I do like the tweet that he put out when he basically, had the picture, I think, of Oliveira and Chandler, and said "Fool's Gold."
Yep.
That's pretty sharp one there, Dustin. The diamond.
I thought he stole the weekend. With the comment.
That was a good one, man.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, in reality, you've got to be thinking those two guys are probably thinking the same thing. This is not This is not
No.
really the belt. Like
No,
Khabib left the belt. This is
those guys are not saying that. Let's be honest.
really fighting for it. Really, like it should be. It's like a second tier belt. Really, like
Oh, who's got the belt?
huh?
Who's got the belt? Does
Dana.
Dustin? No.
That's
Does
probably,
Connor? No.
it's probably over Dana's shoulder.
It's probably it's in Dana's office.
Yeah,
You know, Habib is now retired and he doesn't have the belt, so that belt is sitting there. Whoever they put for that's where that lineage goes.
I get it. I understand.
But I do like his comment. I thought it was great.
I thought it was great. I mean, realistically, like he should be the one fighting for the title. He knows it. And I thought it was a great
But he
comment.
made his choice, and that's okay.
Yeah. Is it okay though, John?
Yes, it's a business decision.
I hope
you.
he's fucking paid. I hope he loves it.
I'm sure he is.
A great person, man. Absolutely great person. There's talks that Megan Anderson might be coming to Bellator. We kind of we saw this already. We talked about this for the last year and a half. That there's nowhere else for the 45-pound girls to go because they're going to get rid of the division in the UFC. We've said it. We've been called bullshit. We've been told by everyone that we don't know what we're talking about, and here it is. And so I want to see Felicia Spencer come over.
Oh, I'd love to see Felicia Spencer.
She's the one I want to see come over.
Yeah, she's got a lot of upside because she's just going to be getting better and better.
Yeah, she's young. So that's I want to see Megan come over as well, but I mean I want to see Felicia Spencer come over. Colby Covington says he will be the unofficial backup for the UFC 261. Plans to be in attendance. Maybe you should tell Dana that, buddy. You might want to let him know. Maybe he just did. This is how he did it. It really just comes down. You're going to be in the arena. Cool. But we got to get your medicals and everything done too as well. So let's put that on the roster.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if he's, if he's the official backup, you'll know because he'll weigh in.
That's true.
Ooh, what was that I said? He will weigh in. Got it. Okay.
Very nice.
That's nice, huh? Thank you.
Yes, great success.
Very nice.
Alexander Volkanovski.
Yeah. I like this and I hate it.
I hate it because I gotta wait now to watch.
Exactly. That's why I hate it. Volkanovski and Brian Ortega are going to be the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. Again, do I have to really say the 29? Jesus Christ.
Did they not get the deal done with Connor? And it must not have been able to get the deal done with Connor and Dustin. I think Connor's got too much shit going on. He's like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna sit in Vegas at a house.
He's already done it. He knows. Okay, I did that. Been there, done it. Don't want to do it again.
Yeah. I'm losing millions while I'm in this damn house trying to coach these young kids.
Well, not a whole lot of guys did that twice.
Did he do it twice?
Connor didn't do it. He did it the one year that he had Uriah Faber was.
Well, somebody else did it. There's been a couple guys do it twice, right?
Yeah, I said not many people.
Oh, gotcha.
Do it twice. So because it's a lot more than people think. Yeah. There's a lot to it. It can drag on and you got to be there a lot. It's not an easy thing to do. So not a lot of guys do it twice.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of this fight? What do you think of the show? I mean, like, they don't seem like shit talkers. I don't understand what you're going to get out of it.
Well, Brian Ortega is not a shit talker.
No,
he's a classy guy, man. I love him. Again, I've known Brian for a very long time. I personally think that he's going to be a handful for Volkanovski. Again, styles make fights. And when you're looking at it, both guys have their talents and stuff, but you don't want to be the guy taking Brian Ortega to the ground. And many times Volkanovski turns in and relies on his ability to do that at times and then steals the round towards the end, gets, because he gets out of the stand-up. It's been close. Now he gets to take down, does a little bit of ground and pound. I don't know if he wants to do that with Brian. Brian's set up on, first off, he sets the triangle up from all kinds of different positions. And he's able to hit that sucker. His guillotine is strong. It's tight. He'll hit it from a variety of different holds instead of, usually guys will, they'll have their one hold that they like, the way they like to hold their hands, the way they like to put pressure. he's got it where, he hits it from a variety of the way that he'll cross his hand over, he'll pull his hand up, he'll, I've seen him grab his glove. He's good with it. So yeah, he's a dangerous guy on the ground. If you're Volkanovski, you're gonna say, well, I'm gonna keep him on his feet. I think he's the volume guy. I'm the power guy, and I'm gonna put him out with power. So
yeah, I think the length and the reach and the range, he can fight everywhere. Brian Ortega can. So can Volkanovski. But like you said, being on his back, Ortega, he's very dangerous. Whereas Max, still good on the ground. Very good.
not even close.
Not even close. Not even close to Brian. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Choked on those words. Look at that.
It's better than a yawn.
Oh,
I wish he had a yawn. I would have drank.
give me time. Yeah. Oof, that was a good one. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I want to see how this all pans out. I think maybe the Volkanovski might have some good trash talk in there because he's got an accent. It always makes it more fun when they have an accent.
That's true.
All right, we're just gonna really quickly touch over this. Poodle-haired kid is fighting.
Poodle hair.
Yeah, is fighting Ben Askren.
And the funky one.
Yeah, he's fighting Ben Askren. I mean, the official card was announced. Realistically, the only fight on here that we're gonna kind of brush over is Frank Mir's fighting on it. So Frank Mir is fighting Steve Cunningham. Good boxer. It's good.
He is a good boxer.
Big guy.
Yeah, he's way too good a boxer for Frank. I'm sorry.
Why?
Huh?
Money.
Oh yeah.
Only reason.
Yeah, I love Frank. Frank's a good guy. He's a friend of mine. This is not an area where he is going to do well. He is.
He makes Frank look small.
He doesn't make Frank look small. He makes Frank look a little shorter. It's just the difference. You're talking about 6'3" to 6'4", 6'5" or so. I don't know, but this is not going to end well for my friend Frank Mir.
Well, let's just see what happens. I mean,
let's see what happens.
I'm down to see these type of things, where the MMA guys are.
There's a big difference here when you're talking about Frank being a guy who fought, a lot of fights, but relied on the ability to keep people at bay based upon his ground game and a submission game where he would take the limb home. How many times did you see Frank Mir doing great in the stand-up? I can name a couple where he had to fight against, Todd Duffy, knocked Todd out. But, how many times did you see Frank, against guys, Mark Hunt or, Junior Dos Santos? It didn't end well, and it's not going to end well going in there with a boxer that like Stevenson. So, I don't know.
Come on, man. Positivity. Share some positivity with
positivity there. It's called a payday.
We'll see what happens. I mean, realistically, like this fight is just it's one of those ones you just want to tune in and watch just because I want to support the guys that fought MMA before. I guess the overall picture of the welterweight division in the UFC just announced the Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns.
That's a good one though. When you're looking and especially since you ended up with Leon going against Mr. Diaz, I guess we're going to bring that one up too because we didn't talk about it. But this is the matchup that you're looking at. So yeah, Stephen Thompson is sitting there now somewhere around number 5. Who's he going to fight? Well, Gilbert Burns steps in, so I'll fight him. And Gilbert definitely has the ability to end that fight, especially if it hits the ground. But he's got to get him down to the ground because in the stand-up, he's going to have a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Will he have a lot of trouble?
Yes.
You think so?
Yep. I'm not saying that you can't get him to the ground, but if he tries to get into a stand-up battle with him, it's not going to be a good thing for him.
He's going to tire himself out trying to get a takedown?
Good.
That's like
Stephen Thompson is not an easy person to get in on.
No, he's not. He's long. He's lanky. I mean, but Gilbert Burns is so big for the weight. Not height-wise, but stocky.
No, he's stocky. Strong.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Stephen's done a good job throughout his career. I think he's really one of the guys that has made, outside of Machida, making that karate so popular.
Oh, yeah.
great job.
Yep.
I think he's gonna have some success in that first round until Gilbert starts to figure him out. But if Gilbert's able to get him down, I can see the fight ending. But
I could see, I could definitely see it. Let's go in the opposite direction. I could see Gilbert looking for that takedown and eating one of what Stephen Thompson does so well: the spinning back kick, eating a knee inside. Uh, he's he's trouble in the stand-up, man. He's awkward for anyone because you cannot train for what he does and become competent in that one training camp that you have, getting ready for him. It's not an easy task to deal with.
yeah, but all of those things you're talking about with those kicks, it makes it a little bit easier for you to be taken down. I mean, I know the way he throws them.
So you're getting hit by him.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, I mean, it does make for a fun fight. It's very similar to Jackson Neiman Gracie fight. It's like you have a kind of like a throwback to the beginning part.
Yeah.
Stand up guy versus a grappler kind of situation. So makes for a fun fight.
Yep.
Let's get right into this. Nate Diaz versus
Leon Edwards. What do you think of that fight?
Nate Diaz is not fast. Nate Diaz is not strong.
Uh-huh.
Nate Diaz does not have power. I don't know how he wins this fight. A guillotine. That's the only way I see him winning this fight. They are giving him this fight because it gives him a chance to possibly fight for the title after, which is what Nate's always wanted. He wants to jump the line, which he's always done because he's a money guy, and he wants to jump the line and get to a title shot. Leon Edwards, the UFC put this fight on to give him a named opponent that they could take right from there to have him fight for the title next.
That's great.
So,
but I don't blame Nate Diaz one iota for saying, "Hey, yeah, I'll jump the line." I don't blame him. He's not doing anything wrong. Who's the guy that puts butts in the seats, Leon or Nate?
Dana. It's gonna be Nate for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I would have liked to have seen if Nick Diaz was really going to come back, him versus Leon. I could have seen that. Why not? Why not? I would have liked to have seen maybe a Nick Diaz versus Stephen Thompson. I wonder if Nick is going to come back, who's he going to fight?
I think you kind of you've already seen a Nick Diaz versus Leon Edwards.
Did we?
Yeah, you saw it in Nick's last fight, which was now almost 6 years ago, 5 years ago, when he fought Anderson Silva.
I was like, wait, did I miss something? Did they fight already? That's what it was.
No, they didn't fight already, but you're going to say style wise and the way it looks and how someone approaches the fight, and you kind of did.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Nate's got to. I don't know how he's gonna have to cut the cage off. He's gonna have to throw punches and bunches, but he's not fast.
No, he's not. The speed difference is going to be, let's just be honest when we look at it. And again, I love Nate Diaz. I love him as a person. I love him as a fighter. I love what he represents and that he's just true to himself. But even in his fight with Masvidal looked really fast against Nate. And Masvidal is not the fastest person there is. Leon is way faster than Masvidal.
Leon's really damn fast.
Leon's fast. And you're going to see a huge speed difference here with, when Leon decides to let go, those shots are going to come very quick. And Nate, although Nate's a good boxer, but he's going to absorb a lot of, the damage coming from Leon. And he's going to have to figure out a way to inflict his own damage during those sequences. And when you're getting hit, it makes your balance, off. It creates the angle changes. So he's going to have to, he likes to wing from outside and from afar. And that will not work when you're getting hit. You got to change it up.
Yep. And they're both of them fight very straightforward. Nick and Nate both.
Yep.
So if you cut a little bit of angle here, they have to turn and change the direction. They change so slow, and so Nate, it takes him forever to turn his body. He's long and lanky. He turns. He's able to be hit there as well, and then the guy can circle out and get away before he can retaliate.
Now, the one place I do see Nate doing well is if he can get his hands on Leon, not even getting him to the ground, but to get his hands on him and just dirty box him and try to hit him with elbows and things inside. Nate can do okay in there with him.
He's just not strong though, John.
I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying that's where he takes away a lot of the elements where Leon is just superior as far as speed and length and the way that he does things, the straight, sharp shots that he, does. That just now crushes it down. It takes it away from him. So now it becomes about, all right, it's a grappling situation with striking, but the striking is short and compact, and he can do well in there.
Interesting. I guess we're going to see that fight happen. So that's on May 15th, UFC 262. What else you got for us? Oh, let's talk. There's Mr. Big Mouth decided to take a fight after Dana had said that he was mentally
Had a mental breakdown.
It's a good thing we're looking out for the fighter's interest. The fighter's health and interest.
Well, let's be honest. First off, Kevin Holland did not have a mental breakdown. Okay? To say that is just wrong. He didn't have mental breakdown. Now, did he fight smart? No, he didn't. Did he run his mouth at times when he should have just been fighting? Yes. Is he sometimes his own worst enemy? Yes. I'm just going to say it. But he didn't have a mental breakdown, and he can go back and fight, and he could do well in this fight with, Marvin. He could do well in this fight, but I think you're shooting yourself in the foot when you're Dana saying this guy had a mental breakdown, and then you're putting him back in a fight. That doesn't look real good. So obviously, I don't think that everyone's believing that there was a mental breakdown here.
No, there wasn't. We know there wasn't. It was just that he let him being a showman get in the way of him actually.
Yep.
Kevin Holland and Marvin Vettori is set to fight on the 10th?
Yep, next week.
Yeah, next week.
If you're the UFC, man, you got to love this guy that he fills all the holes when someone steps out because, obviously that was supposed to be Darren Till, and this guy steps up every time.
But do you look at does Marvin Vettori look at him and go, I know how to beat you now. It was laid out for me last time you fought. Just take you down. You have no grappling. You've got
No, he's got grappling. He does. But it's a matter of no one's got grappling if you don't use it. If you're running your mouth instead of actually trying to either set up a reversal, set up a submission, get yourself back to your feet. You got to do one of those. But if I'm going to sit there and talk to my opponent and talk to Habib and Dana and all of them during the fight, if I always look at it as you talk about people, hey, you can't chew bubble gum and walk at the same time because his brain's going in two directions. Well, that's Kevin Holland when he's fighting. Yeah. Stop the talking as far as you want to say something to your opponent. Go ahead. I don't care. But it's always fight first.
Yeah, we'll see if we get a different one. If we get a different Kevin Holland for this fight during the fight, is he going to take care of business or if he's going to keep talking? I mean, I get the talk up to the fight. I get the talk when you're getting ready to be introduced. I get a little bit of the trash talk back and forth.
Good.
But when you're getting beat, okay, let's dial it down a little bit and let's get a little more busy. So
I agree with you. You got to look. He had an incredible 2020. And if he loses this fight, 2021 is going in the complete opposite direction. So he needs to bite down on that mouthpiece and become a fighter real fast.
How does Vettori beat him? Just take him down?
No, I think, Vettori's got power in his hands. We saw, in the stand-up he had against, Hermanson. He's got good stand-up. He's got power in his hands. He changes his, he takes his head off center line. He's gotten so much better since working with Rafael Cordero out of King's MMA that, he's got confidence now in his ground game too, though. And that's from working with guys that are there that are really proficient in the ground game. And so, Kevin Holland does have a good, submission game, but I don't think he's got a submission game that's going to now submit Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vittori's got the power in his hands on the feet. He likes to be in the stand-up. So Marvin Vettori can win this fight, taking him down, ground and pounding him, and, hurting him with shots and making him get to that point where he's not fighting anymore.
Guess we'll see. We'll see.
I think that this does sets Vettori. If Vettori gets the win here, he's set up for a title fight because he already had the fight with Izzy. It was a split decision. So as a rematch, makes sense. He's going to be coming off of how many wins in a row? You know,
Let's pull up.
not a bad setup.
Pull up Vittoria. See what he said.
4.
He's got 4 fights and wins.
That would be 5 wins in a row.
Not really any big names. Jack Hermanson.
Andrew Sanchez is a good fighter. Cesar Ferreira is a good fighder.
Yeah.
You know,
top 10.
Not the biggest names, but his last loss was against who?
Izzy. I get it.
There you
I
go.
understand where you're going with it. And I see the UFC is trying to go that same direction you're going because it is a business.
Makes sense.
I'd like to see him get, pull up the brackets, please. Not brackets. People are getting on me about calling it brackets. Rankings, guys. See,
Rankings.
Comments. I read your guys' comments. Try to stay positive though. You guys get a little more negative now. Okay, we're starting to look like Brennan Schaub's. Okay, comment section. I don't want positive in our comment section. Okay, I'm gonna turn the comments off. Okay, I'm gonna turn the comments off. You guys, let's keep it positive. Okay, and every time you guys write something, write hashtag and still. Thank you.
And still.
Yeah, why not like a Paulo Costa or a Jared Cannonier?
Jared Cannonier would be one that I would look at. That's a tough fight for him, though.
Even Brunson. Derek Brunson's the number 4.
Yeah, good.
I want to see him get past the Darren Till. I would after you fought Darren Till, I'd have been like, okay, you're next in line. You could be next in line for a title shot because it was so close with Izzy. But now Darren Till's out. A Brunson or a Cannonier, Paulo Costa, it's somewhere in that mix. I'm not saying you jump up to Whitaker, but
so now because Till pulls out, you're saying Vittoria's basically got this fight with Kevin Holland for nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just
okay.
No, it's not for nothing. It's for money.
It's to make a living.
Prize fight. We get paid for this shit. Yeah, that's he's getting paid for money. Like other than that, no, that you're looking at the same thing that's going on with Leon Edwards, with Bilal Muhammad. Now he's got to fight Nate Diaz. You got to fight somebody with a name to get that title shot. Even if he had to beat Bilal,
I agree.
He would have had to have finished Bilal, I think, for them to give him a title shot. They needed to give him more name recognition.
Again, Bilal was, a guy that was brought in based upon the fight, being canceled with who they had him scheduled to fight before.
Yeah. So I can see this happening. I think Vittoria's got to fight someone like a Darren Brunson or a Cannonier. Paul Costa and Whitaker fighting again?
No. Whitaker's going to be fighting Kelvin Gastelum.
Oh, that's right. All right. Well, Dave, you got anything else? Nope. That's everything. That's all.
Hey, did you see the tweet that Kelvin Gastelum put out?
No.
Dave, pull up Kelvin Gastelum because Josh will enjoy this one.
I always enjoy Kelvin Gastelum. He's fun to watch.
He is.
Super energetic.
Guy. All is gold. Come on.
Not a big guy for 185.
Damn, it doesn't even pull up his Twitter when I search him.
He's my tweener guy.
He is. Yeah, he's the tweener. The
epitome of the tweener, Kelvin Gastelum. They need that 175-pound division for Kelvin.
There we go. On a mission. He's apparently. Which tweet, John?
So it's going to be about last night and Patricio Pitbull Feraldo.
There it is, right
it's
there.
About Patricio.
Down. It was just right there. Was that it?
There you go.
Was able to train with Patricio Pitbull in December of 2019 and was blown away by his intelligence and his approach to the fight game. Never seen such a high fight IQ, except maybe in GSP. He's the absolute truth. Wow.
Boom.
Pretty big words.
Not bad, huh?
Just really been saying what I've been saying for the last 2 weeks. Whatever.
Well, but there's verification for you. That's why I was reminded of it and said, oh, I gotta point that one out to Josh.
Maybe UFC fans will start now believing because
never.
Anyways, no,
never.
He is the truth. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, styles make matchups. If I was to match him up against like Brian Ortega or Max Holloway, I think he'd have a harder time with him. I'm not saying he wouldn't beat him. I'm saying he'd have a harder time with him. But if I match him against Volkowski, I have no problem putting $100, $200, $500, or $1,000 down on Patricio to beat him. Just style matchups. That's the thing.
I'm the same way. I believe the same thing.
All right, guys, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Wayne in. Use the promo code. No promo code.
The new one's dropping on the midweek show with the new.
What?
New t-shirt.
with the May.
Are you saying that we are not giving a discount to our people?
I have a question. What is
Okay, I just want to say, everyone, that is Podcast Dave's fault, and you need to respond to that.
what is the May t-shirt?
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de
Cinco de Mayo.
Have it.
Right. Hey, question, Dave. What's Cinco de Mayo?
May the 5th.
Very good. 5th of May. Very nice.
That's not the real Cinco de Mayo, by the way.
Yeah. No, it's not. But,
What's it? When is it?
but I like the fact that we have a shirt for Cinco de Mayo.
Yes. When is Memorial Weekend?
September.
Usually
Isn't that
Memorial Weekend's the last weekend of May.
Yeah. So we need to come up with the Memorial Weekend one.
Well, I like that one.
Like in
A little American flag.
Yes.
Well, we have this. We have this one coming in July.
That's not the American flag. Oh, they're okay. That's Independence Day. That's
No, I
close.
think we need to have that, or we need to have a camouflage one.
Okay,
Like we have to do a camouflage one.
I
Okay.
like that.
I like that idea too.
Now I got to buy more shirts.
Thank me later for that.
Thank you for spending my money, Josh Thompson.
Always.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, go to Pro Wrestling Tees. There's no promo code. You're dropping the ball. When's it come? May 1st?
It comes with the midweek show. There'll be a new promo code with the Cinco t-shirt.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone, don't buy our shirts. Wait,
Wait.
because Podcast Dave just screwed up. Okay, I just want you to know.
Promo code will come on midweek show. That means you guys got to tune in to the midweek show to find out what the promo code is for our Cinco shirt, and we will have a Memorial Day weekend shirt as well.
I know what the promo code is going to be.
Josh Thompson.
No, Dave screwed up.
They screwed up. Nice. Oh,
Oh, there's so many jokes I could
It's
make,
get-
and I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah.
gonna be with the fook.
What the fuck?
All right, guys. That's pretty much everything. What else we got there? That's it.
Pretty much it. I just want to tell everyone that actually listened to you and me and watched the Bellator. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you watched the next one. And to all the people that came up to us talking about how they're listening to our podcast and they love it and everything, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. It's really nice when we're going someplace. I was at the airport. People were stopping me saying, look what I'm listening to. So thank you very much for listening. Just tell your friends about it now and make sure that they listen too, because and still we are the best.
It's crazy, John. We were walking around the casino, like going to get our COVID test, like that. People were like, hey, I watch your guys' show. And we're all, wow, this is
Cool.
I think we're more famous now. Well, me anyways. I'm probably more but it's pretty cool. I liked it. I love hearing all the great things from people when they stop us and say, they love the show and this and that. So I want to thank you guys. Also, hit the thumbs up. That shares our videos out to people that like MMA and they want to get more content. Also, hit the little bell off to the right, because we are dropping our midweek show at different times, for the algorithm to try and figure it out. So that will give you the notification on when we drop. So I want you guys to understand that. Also, last week, we filmed it a day earlier because we are traveling. So that's why we missed out on the Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz stuff. So that's why we talked about it this week. I know the ship is a little bit sailed, but hopefully you guys like the content that we talked about it on this time around. This will happen occasionally. So this is why you guys should hit that little bell off to the bottom, so it shows you when we're going to drop our show. So we like that you guys are giving us feedback in the comment sections. Let's keep it positive. I appreciate that as well. And every time you see Ariel Hawani and DC and Chael and every single one of them post something on Twitter, you go in there and you say weighing in and still. That's all you
Or you can say weighing in and shill.
Yeah. Yo, I love it. Oh, that's great. Bro,
You know what I'm talking about.
put the and still in there and you tag me and John or the weighing in chat.
We will put that back out.
We'll retweet it, we'll repost it, and we appreciate you guys for all the support. And John, what do you got to say?
The only thing I got to say is, again, thanks everyone, and we will see ya.